So we caught up with Björn here outside of the Paradox booth here at Gamescom, and can you just give us an insight into just what of Salem you're showing off here?
We're showing off some new things that we've been working on for the past like 6 months or half a year since we last showed it, and what has been added is like we've gotten a few more industries in, a lot more like of the crucial little widgets and gadgets that we kind of need to run the game, like chat windows and buddy lists and kind of trivial things like that that are extremely necessary for an MMO to actually run and operate. Yeah, party functions, village systems, stuff like that, and claims and that kind of things. So but a lot of new industries as well.
So it's almost getting to a stage where you can let people play it and experience it and see what they feel about it.
It's definitely converging on some sort of playable version of the game now. It's looking a lot better than it did like 6 months ago, and obviously we've done some touch-ups on the graphics, although that's still a work in progress, but yeah, we're moving forward.
Because with your game, I guess it's a little bit hard to imagine players coming into a game before, because you don't really know what they're going to do, so it really is sort of, you're just working with nothing and then hoping that this is what people will enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for us as developers, it's going to be crucially important to get like people actually playing the game, so we can't really wait to start like the alpha and the beta and like start rolling out the game, because we really need like player feedback to actually tell us whether the mechanics that we've put in are kind of working or not, because it's a game that we rely a lot on like emergent behavior, and we rely a lot on like players trying things out and finding things and finding the problems with things. We definitely, can't wait to start getting some feedback, because it's very unobvious how people are actually going to play the game when they actually get their hands on it.
And you mentioned some new industries. Is there any particular that you can talk us through?
Yeah, I mean, each industry is really, I mean, they're all connected in one way or another, so, I mean, compartmentalizing them is really wrong in one way, but I mean, we've done tanning. We can tan hides, for example, from deers that can be killed, that you can hunt in the forest, and we have farming in now, so you can farm crops and build windmills and grind the flour from the crops that you've grown, and cotton is in, so we can make clothes from cotton, and we have clay in, so you can dig clay and build little kilns and ovens, and which you obviously need for bread. When you're baking bread, you need the oven. So there's a lot of stuff that's in. We're working on iron right now. We want that in as well before we roll out the alpha and the beta. So that's our next project.
Is it easy to overlook something, because basically what you're doing is trying to make real life into a game? Is there sort of obvious things that you may overlook?
Probably, but it's also kind of like, we have a very natural way of developing. Like we have one thing that we want to put in, like farming, for example, and then one thing kind of tends to lead to another, because when we put in farming, the need for the windmill becomes kind of obvious, and when we put in the windmill, we obviously need all the resources that you need to build the windmill, so then we need to build those in order to have the game kind of complete and working. So one thing tends to lead to another in a very natural kind of way. So, yeah.
But it's also kind of hard to predict when you're going to be done with it then as well.
Absolutely. This is the forever project. I mean, we could just keep on adding things like, yeah, I mean, there's always more cheesecake and strange various foods, dishes and stuff that we could add. So there's no end to the possibilities.
But you're starting to see like the scope of the game now. You're starting to see it come together.
Yeah, absolutely. We're almost done with our map generator, or like at least with the first iteration of it. So we're starting like on our dev server back home. We have a real actual running world that we can walk around in, and that is actually random generated and feels kind of finished. And we believe we have a kind of decent map going, which is going to be interesting and going to provide like interesting places to hide hidden fun stuff and interesting cool things.
And then it will be out when it's done.
Exactly. It's going to be out. We're aiming for a release early next summer, and we're going to roll out the beta beginning next year, and probably we're going to start the alpha. We're going to start working on getting the alpha going as soon as we get back home from Gamescom.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.